Welcome back, students. After tea break, coffee break. How was the tea? Nice. And how was the coffee? Well, so now what you had? Tea or coffee? Coffee. You prefer tea to coffee or coffee to tea? Sometimes tea, sometimes coffee. Well, I prefer coffee to tea. Yes. And what about you, Mark? What you had? Tea. Along with tea, had something? You told me that you haven't had anything since you came from far distance off, huh? You had a sandwich? Very good. So everyone had something? Yes, our mind is fresh. May we continue? Thanks. So we were talking about communication, the effectivity of communication. Now I ask you, suppose you go upon an island, you land on an island, okay, an island where there is no one, only those red Indians kind of people are there, the jungly people are there, and you go there. Suppose you are traveling by a small boat and you are on your world tour, yes, you and your colleague, you and your friend, you and your spouse or whatever, but both of you land. Due to heavy wind current, your boat gets carried away to a shore of an island. You go off track, you lose connection, your mobiles, your navigational equipments don't work. It is some kind of hypothetical situation, and you are on that island amongst various kind of people. Yeah, what do? How do you communicate when you are terribly hungry because whatever stock you had is all exhausted? You of course can't eat stones, and you can't have any water because when you're drinking water, you have to think 10 times. Is it hygiene? Is it hygienic? Yeah. So what do you do? How do you communicate with them? With gestures. Absolutely right. You communicate them with gestures. When you communicate with gestures, tell me one thing, isn't that a language? Even that's a language. To speak out with gesture, these are gestures. Even they communicate. When I say, I'm hungry, I want to sleep, don't speak. These gestures are good enough to communicate our feelings, our requirements, yes. So, language is required not only to communicate but communicate professionally, communicate effectively, because language is the medium of acquiring knowledge, acquiring wisdom, becoming a professional in your own walks of life. Language helps you certain qualities. Language helps you develop yourself, your standard of living. Everything is dependent upon how you speak, how you convey yourself, how you pass your ideas to others. Right? So forget about gestures now. Let us talk about the fixed pattern of language. When it comes to speaking about English language, there have been several variations of this language. In India also there have been several accents of English. The North Indian accent differs from the South Indian accent. Yes, sorry, I was going to say South Indian actress. Sorry, I'm into watching a lot of films. No, that's the reason why. North Indian accent, not actress. North Indian accent differs considerably from the South Indian actress. The Eastern accent, especially of Bengal or Assam, is way different from the Western accent. This is about our country. If you talk about African countries, they also speak English, but that is really hard to understand. I just don't know. I have a couple of African friends. When they speak, initially it used to fly over my head. I should speak slowly. You are speaking English. I understand. I can understand Americans. I can understand Canadians. I can understand French. I can understand Japanese also when they talk in English. But it's very difficult for me to understand Africans. So I don't know why. I just don't understand how do you speak English. They have a different form of speaking, yes, but then slowly and gradually you get accustomed to that, and it becomes easy. My friend used to actually type his message to me in English. African guy, his name is Toby. Something I can't remember his actual name. I used to call him Toby because he said, "That's my pet name, Toby." I said that is better for me instead of using your long name, which I can't speak, I can't pronounce, I can't understand. Toby, T-O-B-I is better. Gobi. Gobi loves to eat Gobi. What is Gobi? Cabbage, right? In India we call Gobi. So I used to say Toby loves to eat Gobi. What is Gobi? Gobi means cabbage, man. We call cabbage as Gobi in our language. Oh, I see. So Toby loves to eat Gobi. How do you find it? Rhyming, right? Very good. So language is important even for songs, even for poems. Yes. Without language, how can you make songs? What is the use of songs? What is the use of poems? To soothe our life, to bring some beauty in our life. Otherwise there is a routine something. Yeah, so this song, these poems, they bring some kind of beauty, they give some peace of mind to our stored up brains, due to some sentiments, due to some quarrels, fights, whatever. So they bring subtlety to our mind. That is essential. Yeah. So every element is based upon the language. We go to grocery shops also. We ask for things without communication. We cannot ask for things. Yeah, our orders cannot be placed if we go to hotel. We need to speak. We need to speak efficiently, and most of all, when we go for any curriculum as such, it is the language which helps us enlighten. It is the language which helps us educate ourselves. So language is important. Every educational book is based upon language. Yes, even blind people have their own language that's called as a braille. It is in the form of dots, I guess. I really don't know how they do it, how do they manage, but it is in the form of dots. So even that is their language. There have been so many blind students who are exceptionally brilliant. I always wish if they had eyes. They would have gone long way. They have all darkness in front of them, yet they are like exponents in their own fields. Yeah. So let's come back to language. Language is required to communicate effectively, professionally, and it is a basic tool for one's intellectuality to achieve the highest level of intellectuality, to achieve the highest level of professionalism, to professionalism. See, I'm learning so many languages altogether, the Spanish, French, German, all. So sometimes I have a blended way of communication, pronunciation, I mean to say. So professionalism, when I was only learning one language, the communication was very easy. Why? It was only one language. Now that I'm learning French, Spanish, German, it becomes slightly difficult for me to pronounce certain words. Why? Because I tend to pronounce those words in a French style mostly. And my tongue slips somewhere, and then again I have to gear myself back and start. So people generally think he is not a good speaker. So I always tell it's not because of that, is because of having four axes. It's having because of having four things in front of my mind, in front of my eyes. It becomes difficult. Previously, when I had only one path in front of me, there was no reason to fall. Now that I have 4 to 5 things in front of me, that it leads to little confusion. Yeah, because finally brain works upon what? The fodder that you offer. Yeah, so when you offer fodder of different types, of different varieties, the brain sometimes gets confused. Yes, it's a supercomputer, right? We say our brain is a supercomputer. Yeah, so when you offer your brain variety of fodder, even your brain gets confused and sometimes gives wrong signals also. Yeah, so let's come back to point language. Language is extremely important. Yeah. So today, if we decide to play a game, a verbal game, you don't have to move from your seats. We can point to your chairs. I don't want you to move from your chairs. Yes, but you have to make a practice that it's a game that, despite being confined to your own seat, can you be approachable to the person who is on the last seat? At the same time, one who is on the one who is confined to the last seat, can you be approachable to the first seat person? That way, how can you do this? This is an effective example of communication. How can we build up network among ourselves? That's what we have to do in this lecture. Because we are already seen the communication language. Now let us apply it in practicality. Okay, you choose someone. I would expect the front seaters to choose someone from the back side, and the back seaters someone from the front side. Similarly, the right siders to choose someone from the left, and the left siders to choose someone from the right. And those are the middle. They discuss among themselves. They are like people, like judges. So they can mingle with themselves. So it is like that. You decide how we go about doing it. Now it's time lunch break. We'll meet after lunch break. Have a good, fantastic lunch. But don't sleep afterwards. After having lunch, please come here with a cup of tea so that your mind is fresh. Thank you, friends. Thank you.